Welcome to Uncovering Dark Falls. I'm Gideon Brooks, and we're going to learn about this house. Just to catch you up a little bit, I moved to Dark Falls recently, and I'm not loving it. I mean, it's okay. You know, it's got its quirks and stuff. It's just really like overcast a lot of the time, or just plain dark. And, Dark Falls, I get it. It's probably appropriately named, to be honest. But about this house, man. The locals here, and a lot of my neighbors, they simultaneously will not shut up about the house, but also they give zero context or any details about why nobody goes near the house. I'm very curious. So I was very curious. I found out what happened. So I did a bunch of research. I hit the library, read some old articles and stuff, and got in touch with some folks, and I learned as much as I could. It's pretty tragic, actually. Somebody mentioned something about, ghosts or whatever. Somebody mentioned a chemical accident. But, yeah, dude, so anyway. Here's what actually happened with what I'm calling the dead house. And by the way, I don't have a theme song written or anything. I don't know if I'm going to, but just imagine a cool, mood-setting, catchy theme song happening right now. I appreciate it. Okay. So, a family of 4 pulls up to their new house in the town of Dark Falls. The father has inherited the house from a late uncle, and, despite the tragedy, this is still actually pretty good news for the family. Since the father is a writer and can work from pretty much anywhere, he decides to sell their current home and move his family to Dark Falls and live in this new inherited house. Well, I say new. It's not. It's very old, but it's new to the family. He's planning on using the profits of the sale of his current home to spruce up and renovate the Dark Falls house if needed, since they can essentially live there for free. And you know what? Can you guys hear that music? I'm bugging out, and I'm trying really hard not to, but I didn't put this in there. I don't even know where to find music from. I mean, I'm still so brand new at this. I'm just going to do my best to keep going. And judging from the gnarly, overgrown weeds, the collapsed staircase and the entryway, and plenty of cracks and holes in almost every wall and floor, it was certainly going to need some sprucing. The family dog is with them too. It's this gorgeous collie named Petey. But before anyone can even stretch their legs or get a proper look at the place, Petey, who's usually pretty calm, goes full-on batshit. Now, Petey is actually the first one out of the car when they arrive to the house. He leaps out of the third-row seating of the car, over the laps of the kids in the middle row, and then he bursts through the door as the older sister, Amanda, opens it up. It's kind of like Petey knows something is out there worth investigating, and he can't wait to check it out. I guess Petey and I are kind of alike in that way. Well, Petey starts aggressively barking at the house, and Amanda jumps out of the car and she heads over to see what all the fuss is. She looks at the window that Petey is barking at, and she swears she can see someone moving inside that house. Now, it's an overcast summer day in 1997, but despite that, Amanda notices that all of the trees are bare and the leaves on the ground are all brown. It looks like it's been autumn for years. Mom joins Amanda on the front lawn, and she doesn't see what Amanda and the dog seem to be seeing, so she blames the wind and, naturally, brushes them off. With the unease already setting in, the family decides it's time to head inside, but if the outside of the house felt strange, the inside only adds more questions. Inside the house, we discover that the power is out. Petey is still acting strange, and he just immediately bolts upstairs. Amanda now has to go up there and get him, just to make sure he's not chewing on anything or discovering anything that he's not supposed to, right? Amanda's going from room to room looking for Petey. She's calling out his name over and over again, but he's not answering. Now, it's the middle of the day outside, but inside the house is dark, and the shadows are long and they make it hard to see anything really clearly. Amanda ends up in one of the middle rooms down the hallway, trying every light switch that she passes, hoping that one just might actually work. When she enters the room, she heads for the window, the same window that she swears she saw someone moving in just a moment ago. She stands there and just begins to soak in the fact that she's probably standing in what was going to be her bedroom, and she begins to look around. However, as she turns her head, she can see a figure that she didn't notice as she entered the room. She continues to turn her head slowly, and her peripheral catches enough of the figure to confirm her suspicions. It's a man. He's by himself, in the dark, just sitting quietly. Amanda lets out this loud, high-pitched scream, and she probably startles the man just as much as he startles her. Now at this point, Mom, Dad, and her younger brother Josh all come running upstairs to see what's going on, and right away, Dad recognizes the man, and he leans in for a handshake. It's the realtor that's handling the inheritance of the house, Mr. Dawes. Now, according to the reports that I was able to get access to, he was just, quote, enjoying some quiet time until the family arrived. Okay. If you think that's weird, you're on the right track, because that is very weird. Well, after all of this commotion, Mr. Dawes reaches just past Amanda's shoulder to the breaker box in her room, and he flips the power back on, and all the lights flicker back to life. Everybody heads downstairs as the mom hangs up the family's good luck charm over the fireplace in the living room, much to Dad's, disapproval of it. I think he hates it. It is this beautifully framed wreath that's made of, what looks like loose foliage and just dead flowers. Mr. Dawes quickly makes his exit. He seems to hate the good luck charm as much as Dad does. But, the house doesn't just settle down because the lights are on. Later that night, Amanda starts seeing things again, and this time, there's no Mr. Dawes to blame. And later that night, as the family is settling in for bed in their own rooms, Amanda reports having seen more people in the house. People walking past her door, people staring at her from neighboring houses. Anything, man, you name it. She's like the ghost whisperer, dude. She's seeing things that nobody else is seeing, and they don't believe her. And I mean, yeah, sure, one of the figures that she saw was just the realtor waiting for them to show up. But we still don't know why he was in her room with the power manually turned off. I still have to do more research on that, that odd piece of the puzzle and report back to you. Anyway, she calls out for her brother Josh, and he comes stumbling out of the bathroom. His mouth is covered in toothpaste, and Amanda asks if he just walked past her bedroom, and he is, of course, confused. He's been in the bathroom, just brushing them teethers. Now, Josh hated the fact that they had to move, and he hated the house even more than Amanda. And although it is, commonplace for younger brothers to tease and scare their older sisters, he's not in a joking mood right now. Amanda makes her father check every room in the house and the attic before she feels safe enough to lay down for bed. Dad does so, as he should, good man, and he finds nothing. And everybody heads to bed, with varying levels of comfort. The following morning, a, quote, friendly neighbor pops in with homemade muffins. And according to the statements, she says her name is Agnes Thurston. As she introduces herself to the family, she's reported to never take her eyes off of the good luck charm that's hanging over the fireplace. She's paying more attention to the wreath than to her new neighbors. Again, if you think that's weird, good on you. Agnes says that she has a daughter named Karen that would love to meet Amanda. I also learned during my research that Agnes's husband used to work at the Dark Falls chemical plant, but ever since it was shut down, he's been practically living in his shop on their property. Agnes's strange focus on the charm doesn't sit right, but, there's no time to dwell on that. Josh and Amanda are getting restless, and Petey's pacing like he needs to burn off some energy, so they head out for a walk. It's another overcast day, and the two kids, Josh and Amanda, take Petey for a walk in some fresh air. Well, as fresh as you can get here in this town, I guess. And while Petey doesn't normally bark at strangers, he's barking at everybody they pass by on this walk. And you know what they say about trusting your dog's instincts? Well, what doesn't he like about the people in this town? The kids end up under a bridge in town, and they find a whole gaggle of other kids that are their age and just kind of hanging around. One of those kids is Karen Thurston. Now, Josh and some of the boys talk about getting together later to play some baseball sometime, and Amanda and some of the girls, they exchange pleasantries, especially with Karen, and they make plans to meet up. However, the kids only seem to want to meet up, quote, when the sun goes away. Weird. Fast forward to that night, another bedtime, another sighting by Amanda. According to the report, she sees a young girl standing over her bed. The girl is pale, she's wearing layers of dirty clothes, and she's repeatedly saying, "Get away. Get out while you can. Get away." Amanda screams bloody murder, and this is going to feel familiar, but the whole family and the dog come running to Amanda's room to investigate. Dad checks the area, and this time, Dad finds a hole in the wall. It's probably just like a 2-foot by 2-foot shape in the wall, but it's just big enough for somebody to fit through if they knew it was there, or if they made it. The night passes, morning comes, Dad patches the hole, and he has a sit down with Amanda about what she's saying that she keeps seeing. She mentions the person in her window when they first got there, the person that walked past her bedroom, the figure that she saw the previous night, all the people that she can see, all of her neighbors, that just stare at her from open windows. Dad's actually able to calm her down. He reminds her that, they're there for a reason. They get to stretch their budget a little bit living in this house, mortgage free. And he gets to write his book that he's been really excited about. I don't know if at this point if Amanda is truly calmed down or if she's just pretending. We'll have to find out. But, they go their own ways. And for now, that's that. Now that strange sounding invitation might have sounded a little poetic if Petey wasn't growling and barking at everybody in the group still. But it's enough to plant a seed of doubt in Amanda's mind. One that only gets worse from here. Another day goes by. It's, an unsurprisingly cloudy day, and Josh and Amanda are outside in the backyard, desperately trying to find something to occupy their time. Now, there's a series of events that happen here that I'm going to cruise through that pertain to the family. For example, as they're in the backyard, Josh shuffles some boxes and junk around on the back porch, and he sees coins fall out of one of the boxes, and they land on the basement window well just below. It's one of those old school window wells with wooden slats, but one of the wooden planks is cracked, and there's a gap in there. And of course, some of the coins fall through that gap, right? Boo. Well, Josh positions himself to lay down on the wooden slats that cover the well, and as he does so, he reaches in through the crack, and he's able to reach some of the coins and retrieve them. Lucky him, right? Later that night, Amanda hears a loud bang, like a thud sound, coming from her closet where her dad recently patched that hole. Now, neither one of the kids knew at the time that they were just feet away from, and in Josh's case, inches away from absolute terror and something that would change their lives forever. I've been holding on to this for too long now, but there are people living in the holes in the walls and in the basement. Now, at this point in my research, I'm unsure if they're dangerous, but one would assume, hell yeah, absolutely they are. They're very much dangerous. You don't live inside people's walls and in their basements if you're a happy-go-lucky, motivational speaker kind of guy. I'm confidently going to assume the worst here. Call me judgmental, but hey, we'll see. And by the way, regarding the loud thud sound that Amanda heard that night while she was sleeping, it woke her up, by the way. It was just one single bang sound that she heard, and then of course, screamed everybody in the house awake so they could all come running into her house and continue to investigate and see what she was dreaming about this time. What that sound actually was whoever was living in that hole found out that Dad patched it up, and they were pissed. So, in a moment of rage and, anger, whoever was living in that hole punched through that patch. That was the bang sound that woke Amanda up. However, luckily for Amanda, that's all that was done. One angry punch through fresh drywall, from the inside, mind you, and then the figure, whoever is living in the walls there, disappears. Probably because, of course, Amanda screams and the whole family comes in. They're not ready to reveal themselves yet at this point. If they ever really intend to, I'm not sure. I've got some more research to do. I'm kind of doing this in real time. Hope you don't mind. Now, as the family is all standing around the closet with the freshly patched wall, with the even fresher, fist-size hole coming through the fresh patch, something falls from the ceiling that Josh notices. It hits the floor. Petey actually is the first one to pick it up. Petey runs downstairs with whatever it was that just fell, and he hides under the living room table. Nervous and worried, of course, the family follows Petey downstairs, and they, after some coaxing, are able to get whatever is in Petey's mouth out. And what Petey was chewing on and kind of hiding in the moment was something that they never expected to see. It was a newspaper that was dated 3 years prior from the Dark Falls Daily. And in big, bold letters, the headline reads, "Accident at Dark Falls Chemical Factory Kills Workers. Radiation fallout for miles and miles. Entire town evacuates." For now, that's everything that I've been able to collect on the happenings of, again, what I'm calling the Dead House. I have a couple of meetings scheduled over the next few days with some people who have, allegedly additional information about what was going on in the walls and in the basement, and what happens after the family finds out that people are there. And of course, I've got to do my own independent research and such. I get joy from that. And speaking of independent research, every time I walk past this house just to kind of get a vibe, or maybe even take a photo, for the podcast or something, my phone turns off. Every time. There's got to be something to that. And hopefully I figure it out. Maybe, hopefully I'm not walking past, the chemical radiation stuff that's affecting my phone before it's affecting me, and I just won't know about it until later. Who knows, dude, but that's happening. If you missed episode 0, I have always wanted to do like a paranormal, unsolved, unexplained, case file kind of podcast. I have listened to them for years, and now that I live in Dark Falls with this house, I feel like I have something to actually talk about. And right now, I'm going to break a lot of rules here. A lot of the podcast experts, and coaches and stuff, they say things like, at the end of your podcast, don't give your audience a giant list of things to do, because they're going to just freak out and not do any of them. But pretty much screw that, I think. You're smart. I feel like I can give you a list of things that I would like for you to do and just have you pick the one that suits you best, right? So let's try. If the podcast platform that you're listening on has a rate or a review or a comment, or a share option, try one of those out. See how it feels. I also encourage you to join the Patreon. Not only does it come with early access to my research and the episodes, some behind the scenes stuff, it's also going to be very voter privilege based as well. So if you'd like to be able to determine which mysteries I uncover and, follow up on in the future directly, well, you can vote to do that inside the Patreon. I'll leave a link for that in the show notes. I figured out what those were last time. I still don't know how editing works. I don't know, man. Hopefully you enjoy the vibe. That's it. I'll see you soon. Let's lift the curtain a bit here. Uncovering Dark Falls is written by David Caleb and Dr. Plague. It's created, produced, and narrated by Darek Weber. Thanks for listening.